Check out the latest quick hitter from the Pure Hoops podcast as BJ Armstrong and Eric Newman break down the Celtics and the return of Marcus Smart to the lineup and what it could mean for the green. Boston Celtics time. Marcus Smart.
C's. So should I just let you rant here, or because you're
no, absolutely not. Marcus Smart. We're recording Thursday. He's coming back Thursday night on a minutes restriction.
What does a minute restriction mean anyway?
At a certain amount of minutes.
Coaches don't seem to go by. The guy is like 8 for 8. If he's 8 for 8 from the game and he's got a 25-minute restriction, what's Coach Stevens going to do? Take him out?
Only Stan Albeck in Chicago Bulls 1986 had to follow such a strict minutes and seconds restriction with MJ.
Because when the guy loses the game, and then the first answer is, well, why did you take Marcus Smart? Oh, well, why don't you ask so I want to hear Coach Stevens say, why don't you ask Danny Ainge and them? They told me I got a minute restriction. Why don't you go ask our doctor? So I don't know why.
It's definitely
wait till there's no more restrictions.
Listen, I mean Marcus. I mean I could see Marcus having a minutes restriction for one game and then the next game playing 36 minutes. So, they open against Brooklyn. Brooklyn, of course, won't have KD or Blake for this game. This game already would have happened by the time you're listening to this. But, let's get back to what the real issue has been for them, and that's not having the core of Smart, Walker, Brown, and Tatum together for more than a couple of games so far. So, BJ, how good can this team be if these four guys are healthy and in rhythm together? Let's just get right to the point.
You're talking about Marcus Smart,
Kemba Walker, who has played much better as he headed into the All-Star break, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum. How good can this team play? How good can this team be if these four guys are healthy, on the floor together, and in rhythm?
Well, Eric, I'm a huge fan of guards, and all four of those players that you just named, they all bring something different to the table as a guard. Okay. Jason Tatum clearly with his ability to score. Jaylen Brown, he just continues his projection. He just continues to move the needle in the right direction with the way he plays. He's a physical player. He's an athletic player. Marcus Smart defensively, he's arguably one of the best defensive guards on the ball, off the ball in the league.
First team.
Of course, Kemba Walker. Yeah, and of course, Kemba Walker. I mean, Kemba Walker, when he's healthy, the step back, it gets me, and I'm sitting down on my couch watching the game. When he stops that hard, I just cringe. I always go get ice after watching Kemba Walker. I go, man, I don't know how.
Brake pads.
That guy is, I've been watching him do that from his days at UConn. So they all bring something, to the table. They're all, exceptional basketball players in their own right. How good is this team? In the right matchups, I think this team can get to the conference finals. If they're clicking because they can score the basketball, they can upset a team. They have the basketball integrity to win big games in big moments. I don't think any of those players will shy away from the bright lights. However, when you start playing against exceptionally talented players like a Kevin Durant, I don't think any of them are on that level. I don't think any of them can handle if Joel Embiid is playing the game at the highest level. I don't think any of them can play with the likes of LeBron James or Anthony Davis, just because of the way the game is played. But as a group, they provide different challenges. I think they will compete, so forth and so on. I would like to see this team, Eric, if they want to move to the next level, they're going to have to address that center position, which has been a position for them all year. Right? It's been a position for them they're going to have to address. Now, I don't know what's the perfect player for them. Some say, what about Drummond?
No thanks.
I don't know how that works, What's the nick? I love the guy. I love his
see,
nickname.
I think. See,
what's
I
the
think,
guy that's currently there? Just say his name. What's the guy? The landlord or what they call him?
Oh, Time Lord, Robert Williams.
The Time Lord. Yeah, the Time Lord.
He is showing some real signs of being a real deal rotational contributor. See, I think the 5-man by committee could work if they had some more depth elsewhere. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's.
No one's stopping Joel Embiid with one man, right? So
if those
going by your theory real quick, though, that's 18 fouls from Williams, Thompson, and Tice.
They can't stop. Here's the problem. With those 4 players on the floor, that's a very small team.
For sure.
That's the problem.
Yep.
That's a very small team. Okay? Jaylen Brown, in my opinion, because I'll say it again, I think I said it a couple weeks ago. It's time to build a team around those 2 players, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. We're piecemealing all of this now. It's time now to build a team around them.
Well, that is the vision.
Jaylen Brown is a 2 and has to be a 2. And Jason Tatum is a 3 and has to be a 3. He's not a small 4.
Well, you don't think you don't think the formula you spoke about earlier with Brooklyn, with KD at the 4 and then 3 other perimeter players and the right role guy at the 5. You don't think the Celtics can make that work with Smart, Walker, Tatum, Brown, and the right?
No. Because Jason Tatum is not a defender and doesn't have the physical presence to play the 4. Okay? Kevin Durant has an interesting quality that doesn't deteriorate with age. That's called size
7
and
feet
length.
tall. Yep.
When he's 35, he's still gonna be 7 feet. Jason Tatum has either got to make one or 2 things to play against Zion. Either he's got to build up his strength, and if he loses a step, he's out of the game. As a 3, he has length. He can go from being a perimeter player that can beat you off the dribble to suddenly having length and maybe being a post-up player or a catch-and-shoot player and be just as effective. See, Larry Bird was like 6'9". Length is a great equalizer in the game of basketball. So you want taller players to play at smaller positions. Jason Tatum is a 6'8", whatever he is, long arms, 3-man. That's great length at that position. Yep. Jason Tatum is a very physical player at the 2 position. Let's start there.
Jaylen Brown at the 2. Yep.
Jaylen Brown, yes. Jaylen Brown, sorry. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. If you put them at their position, now you have length at your key position, which are your foundation players. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, for instance, besides being great athletes, they had length at their position. Larry Bird and Kevin McHale, they had length at their positions. Kevin McHale was every bit probably 7 foot with his length of his arms.
7'4" or 7'5" wingspan, okay. And then you could add Dirk at the 4 and KG at the 4 to the conversation the same way.
There you go. Okay, so let's get length at the positions first, and then let's figure out how to surround it. I think Marcus Smart should be the anchor in a coach's dream if he was your backup player, if he was your 6-man. That's a championship start right there. I know I got the best 6-man or one of the best 6-men in the league. That's a fact. I have a starter at the 2 and the 3 with length. Now I can play positionless basketball, and it should allow you to defend anything and everything on the wings. Check. Now let's put a 1, a 4, and a 5 to complement that. Yep. That, to me, is what needs to happen instead of piecemealing all of the other things. Because when you get to the playoffs, and I love Kemba Walker. What is the one thing that always peeks its ugly head up in the playoffs? His size. The bigger guards started posting him up or taking advantage of his size. That's just what is he going to do against James Harden?
He's not going to guard him.
Okay. So now you're going to put him on Kyrie.
He's going to guard Kyrie, or he's going to be guarding one of the shooters. That's how those matchups are going to go.
So
but I get what
win,
you're saying, and your Marcus
if you're going to win,
yep.
you have the obligation not to compromise your defense. Danny Ainge knows this. Danny Ainge was a big guard. Him and the late Dennis Johnson. There was a reason that those two were there. There was a reason that the Scottie Pippins of the world and all of these guys. There's a reason that Kawhi Leonard. There's a reason that LeBron James played the point guard position last year. Now, you can bring in other people, but size and length matters. Steph Curry is 6'3".
Yep.
When him and Klay Thompson are together, that's great size at that position. That's great size. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, that's great size. So let's start here if we're serious about where we want to go. And then, because we've been, how are we going to put Gordon Hayward in this? Then they had Kyrie Irving in this. Then they got Kemba Walker in this. Now we're going to get Tristan Thompson. Let's start with those guys and build around it and say, this is what we're doing. Because they have 3 foundational pieces. Marcus Smart should anchor your bench.
So I think
that guy can play the 1, the 2, the 3.
And he can guard 4 positions.
Okay.
Yep.
That to me is what needs to happen. And let's stop plugging the dam up, hoping that it may work out. No, let's just say this is what we're doing. Yeah. Because I want the Time Lord anyway. I want the Time Lord. I'm all about it.
Well, what's interesting, though, about this formula, right? And those 4 have only played 44 possessions together, which is a very small sample, right? But just for reference, the Utah Jazz are plus 11.4 points. I'm not sure if that's for the season or with their best lineup. Johnny L will clarify that. But Smart, Walker, Brown, and Tatum are a plus 18 on the floor together in 44 possessions, which is a minute sample size. But getting back to what you were saying, Smart coming off the bench, which I love, then you start to think about, okay, well, Daniel Tice can make the 3, and Daniel Tice can switch on defense, and Robert Williams, as you love to say, gives you that 5-spot verticality, and Tristan Thompson gives you that 5-spot grinder who could also switch on pick and roll, and all of a sudden you start to think, okay, well, if they could add the right versatile 4 to this formula, and it's not LaMarcus Aldridge, but it is a former NBA champion who has been quietly having one of the best years of his career in Sacramento, and that's the 28-year-old Harrison Barnes. That type of player and skill set, with Tatum at the 3, with Brown at the 2, with Kemba at the 1, could make the Celtics a very tough team the second half of the season if they're able to pull it off. So very excited to have Smart. Very excited to have Smart back. Very excited to see this team struggled a lot leading into All-Star, and then they won 3 games in a row, and Kemba started to get his footing, and Robert Williams has shown some real signs here that this guy's going to be a good player who's ready to contribute potentially this season in the playoffs, not just as a spot player, but a contributor. So I'm, as always, you know this, optimistic and excited to see what the Green is going to do the second half of the year. But having Marcus back, and 2 weeks ago, BJ, or maybe it was last week or 3 weeks ago, things are a little blurry, we talked about what Marcus Smart's presence on the floor did for Tatum and Brown on both ends. Because with Tatum and Brown having to then be the 2 main defensive stoppers on the team without Smart, their offense was suffering. Their percentages were down. Their scoring was down because there's only so much energy and fuel in the tank that these guys can expend night after night on both ends. So there's a real cause and effect here with Marcus. But your take on the lineup and length and the positions these guys need to play, and we know how Stevens looks at this. We talk about positionless basketball, and then the Brad Stevens way is you've got ball handlers, you've got wings, you've got bigs. So obviously Tatum and Brown are wings. Kemba Walker's a ball handler. Marcus Smart's a Swiss Army knife of wing and ball handler, as I see it.
one of the things, I know this is a radical idea. And it's going to shake some things up here.
Shake it up.
But the one thing, as I was listening to you talk, I was saying to myself, you always got to compliment your two best players or your star player. You got to, everything you do, you have to compliment them. Both of them are terrific athletes. They both have size, offensively, defensively. Especially Jason Tatum. I think he's really improved on the defensive end. As you were saying that, I was going to myself, why not just start Marcus Smart?
Well, that's what they were doing.
Okay.
But
why not just start
Marcus instead
Smart
of who?
Instead of Kemba Walker. Now, let's make
Kemba Walker your Lou Williams?
Kemba Walker, let's let Kemba Walker do what Kemba Walker does naturally. When you come in, Kemba Walker, let's find out and answer this question. Were you hot tonight or not? Why am I asking Kemba Walker to set up the other guys? Why am I asking Kemba Walker to manage the time and score? Why am I asking Kemba Walker to let's figure out how to put him on the players so the other team won't do that? No. With Marcus Smart in the starting lineup, Marcus Smart can guard everybody. Okay. So now, when they play against the Miami Heat or whoever they play, the 1, 2, and 3 position,
locked down.
That's locked down. Okay. We got size, we got length, we can switch, we can defend, we can do everything. We got a guy who potentially could come in and score 30 points at any given moment in 30 minutes. And Kemba, that's your job, is to have a heat check. You just walk around with a flame. You like the flamethrower. You are our version
NBA
of
Jam. NBA Jam, you make 3 in a row.
Benny Johnson. You're the microwave. You just every night, your job is just to come in and get 30 points. I'm not going to ask you to run the team. I'm not asking you to come to the game plan. I'm just coming in and say, when Kemba checks in, he got 10 shots. If he's over 10, hey, Kemba, you didn't have it tonight. But he also could go 10 for 10.
Yeah.
And now those 20 points to me are invaluable off your bench. And now Kemba Walker can do what every coach is looking for. He can change the tempo of the game. Because Kemba Walker is a problem if I just say, just go be Kemba Walker. I'm not asking you to play with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. Kemba, you in the game, have ball, will shoot. That's your job.
So should we get this in front of Danny Ainge or Brad Stevens? Who should we connect with?
So now when he comes in, everybody is in their right role. Everyone's in their right role. Like everyone knows, but Kemba got it going tonight. Okay, now Brad Stevens can coach the game that way. We're going to ride this guy for 20, 25 minutes.
Keeps him fresh.
If he doesn't have it going, defensively, we can grind the game out because we got 3 guys on the perimeter, and this is a perimeter game, Eric, that we know we can defend every single night. Now, it would be nice to have somebody who can guard Joel Embiid, but everybody in the league got that problem. But on the perimeter, I feel good about Ben Simmons. I feel good about all these other perimeter players, especially these Jimmy Butler. I feel good about my matchup.
Well, think about
perimeter.
So Kyrie, Harden, and Durant,
Harden,
Tatum, Brown, and Smart.
I feel good about the perimeter matchup against everybody in the league. Now,
and my other point there is,
and I want to say this: every coach would be afraid to go to his bench because Kemba is sitting over there, and you know that man can score 25 points any given night. So to me, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And
he'll put a ton of pressure on the opposition's defense. And if he's matching up with reserves on the other team, it's going to amplify his performance. What coach is going to?
You'll be afraid to sub because you know, like, I don't want my backup playing against Kemba Walker. You're afraid. You're like, so now Kemba is playing against starters who are extending their minutes. Advantage Kemba. Kemba, you just scored. I'm not asking you to stop the player. I'm not asking you to match up. I'm just asking you to score against this guy. Now, you may not be able to stop anybody, Kemba, but I know this. Nobody can stop Kemba Walker when he got it going. And now you just ask those guys, Tice and Tristan Thompson, you just set screens. Because all we're doing when you play against him, we're just setting screens and diving to the basket. And Kemba, look at the ball for your first 3 options. And then if you can't shoot it, then you pass it to him. That to me is Kemba Walker. I'm going to get Kemba Walker the 6th man of the year if I was coaching him. Because Kemba Walker, you said Lou Williams. I just want to see Lou Williams and Kemba Walker play against each other. And they're both in that role. Because that is a valuable role in today's game. Like, think of this. Jordan Clarkson is performing at that role. Well, Kemba Walker can do the same.
And it falls in line with the lineage of Celtics 6th men. Redefines it. Frank Ramsey, Celtics John Havlicek, Satch Sanders, Kevin McHale.
That's what I'm doing.
Bill Walton, James Posey. I
don't think of it as a demotion for Kemba. You know, I'm not saying he's not a starter.
What else do we know about Kemba Walker? Kemba Walker is all about the team and figuring out how to win.
I just want Kemba to score that 20 off the bench.
He can close games. And Brad often takes him out of close games for defensive situations when they're targeting him, and Kemba, of course, does not have a problem with that. So I think this is a very good idea, and somehow, some way, through my life and career journey, I've been communicating with the Celtics every other day for the past 3 months because of the Garnett film. And we're going to figure out how to send a little telegram over there.
Stop it.
But I'm going to say it was BJ's idea. I'm just relaying the message. Hey, Danny, thank you for the interview the other day. Listen, one more follow-up. No, it's about the roster. No, not a trade, Danny. Can you bring Kemba off the bench? BJ thinks it's a great idea. I think.
Just
Listen,
let him be. Let him. I just want. You know what? The authenticity of who you are as a person, it's like, it's empowering. I just want the best version of Kemba Walker. And I don't want Kemba Walker spending time worried about setting up this guy, managing this guy, what play to run. I want Kemba Walker to just come out there and you do you, and we'll figure out the rest. Because that version of Kemba Walker is a problem.
That's the best version. It's the best version.
And let me coach the team. You just go out there and be Kemba Walker, and we'll figure out the rest. And to me, that will solve all of the problems that we're currently having. Because right now, those guys, they respect each other and they respect the game. Kemba Walker he's not a good guy. He's a great guy. He's a terrific guy. He wants to win. Jaylen Brown wants to win. Jason Tatum wants to win. Marcus Smart wants to win. The game means something to him. Coach Stevens wants to win. Danny Ainge. They all want to win. But to me, that would solve the problem. Just let him be. Let that guy, let him be. Like,
fantastic.
I'm excited about the Celtics now. I might have to rethink about the Celtics if he's coming off the bench, because that would really cause some problems for a lot of teams.
And they're able to potentially get Barnes in there? Woo. That would be something. I hope you enjoyed that quick hitter from the Pure Hoops podcast. Check out our new episodes each and every week, dropping on Fridays. Stay pure.